So today we shall discuss about the pyrethroids are also called as pyrethrin. See, naturally they are called as pyrethrums or pyrethrons, which are taken from the extracts of the pyrethrum flowers, which belongs to the genus Chrysanthemum. So in Kannada we call it as Chendu. So from that flowers, so they extract this insecticide pyrethrum or the pyrethrins. So these are naturally available. These pyrethrums are pyrethrins. And the genus of Chrysanthemum from which the pyrethrins are extracted are Chrysanthemum cinerarifolium, Chrysanthemum roseum. So synthetic analog of these pyrethrins. So the pyrethrins are pyrethrums, they are naturally available. So synthetically if you prepare making use of this pyrethrin, then they are called as pyrethroids. Oids stands for like, so like pyrethrins. And these pyrethroids, so they will be rapidly degraded and they are non-persistent in the environment and very commonly used ectoparasiticide. So presently the most commonly used ectoparasiticide or insecticide in the animal practice is these pyrethroids. So more commonly they are used as ectoparasiticide rather than the agricultural insecticide. Rather than the agricultural purpose, so it is used as an ectoparasiticide on the animal, these pyrethroids. So chemistry of the pyrethroids. So pyrethroids, they are esters of carboxylic acid, and natural pyrethrins, they have 6 insecticide active compounds. So the 6 insecticide active compounds are pyrethrin 1, cynerin 1, jasmolin 1. So they are clubbed together called as pyrethrin 1. Similarly, pyrethrin 2, cynerin 2, jasmolin 2, they are clubbed together as pyrethrin 2. So these are 6 insecticide active compound present in the natural pyrethrin. See, naturally this chrysanthemum flower, they naturally have this insecticide property. The plants, they used to have insecticide property. So naturally because of the presence of these active compound. So this is the thing why they synthetically started preparing pyrethroids out of this. Then the classification of pyrethroid. So here one thing to remember, see, classification of pyrethrin is different. So pyrethrin is a naturally available compound and pyrethroid is a synthetically prepared one. So its classification is different from the natural one. So pyrethroid classification is very important. So pyrethroid classification based on the structure divided into type 1 are non-cyanopyrethroids and type 2 are cyanopyrethroids. See, type 1 are non-cyanopyrethroids, they don't possess the cyano group in their structure. So that's why they are non-cyanopyrethroids. And they resemble natural pyrethrins in the structure and they are comparatively less toxic to the mammals. So what are the examples under non-cyanopyrethroids? Pyrethrin, alethrin, bioalethrin, bioresmethrin, permethrin and cismethrin. And this alethrin, the popular brand name is the All-Out. See, All-Out fly repellent, it contains this alethrin as the active compound. So it comes under non-cyanopyrethroids. So the examples are very important. Bioresmethrin is an example of dash type of pyrethroid, type 1 pyrethroid. So like that the examples are very important for the exam purpose as well as for the ICR exam also. So type 2 pyrethroid or cyanopyrethroid which contains cyano group. So they are more active and they are more toxic. When you compare it with type 1, type 2 are more toxic. So what are the examples of type 2 pyrethroid? The commonly used ectoparasiticide, so they come under this type 2 pyrethroids. The deltamethrin, cypermethrin, very commonly used, the cypermethrin. Then fenvalerate, flucythrin, flucythrinate, flumethrin, so all comes under the type 2 pyrethroids. So factors which affect the pyrethroid toxicity. The susceptibility wise, fishes are more susceptible, followed by the mammals, and the birds are more susceptible for the pyrethroid toxicity. So toxicity potential wise, you know type 2 is more toxic than the type 1 pyrethroid. And female, they are more susceptible than the male. And toxicity, it is inversely relation to the temperature. So lesser the ambient temperature, more will be the toxicity. More will be the temperature, less will be the toxicity. That means sunlight, more will be the sunlight, it will degrade the action of the pyrethroid. So that is the meaning of this. So toxicity inversely proportional to the temperature. So high degree of sunlight, it will decrease the toxicity potential of the pyrethroid. And pyrethroid, it is very commonly used along with this synergist compound called as piperonil butoxide. So it is a synergist compound. It is used along with the pyrethroid. So pyrethroid is very commonly used with this piperonil butoxide. So what is the rationale behind using piperonil butoxide? This piperonil butoxide, it inhibits the CYP enzyme. See, when it inhibits the CYP enzyme, so what will happen? It will increase the half-life of the pyrethroid. So it inhibits the CYP enzyme, so it will increase the half-life of the pyrethroid. So that's why pyrethroids is very commonly used along with a synergist called as piperonil butoxide. As such, it doesn't have any insecticidal property, that we should bear it in mind. Then toxicokinetics, this pyrethroid, it do not accumulate in the body, it will be excreted fast from the body. Then what are the mechanism of action? See, mechanism of action, it interfere with the function of the nervous system. Similar to the organochlorine compound, it interfere with the sodium channel opening. See, organochlorine compound also, if you remember, it also interfere with the sodium channel opening. So similarly, pyrethroids will also do the similar mechanism of action. And to be precise, this pyrethroid, it slows down the inactivation of the sodium channel. See, when it slows down the inactivation of the sodium channel, what will happen? The sodium channel will be opened for a prolonged time. So because of that, there will be a depolarization tail that comes immediately after the action potential. So this is a normal action potential. So this is depolarization, then there will be repolarization, right? So here, when there is pyrethroid toxicity, there will be depolarization. When it is undergoing repolarization, before it undergoes full repolarization, in the middle only, there is another depolarization wave that we call it as depolarization tail. So why this depolarization tail happens? It is due to the inactivation of the sodium channel. So there will be no blockage of the sodium channel. Sodium channel will be still open. So that's why you find a depolarization tail. And suppose the pyrethroid toxicity continues, then this depolarization tail, it might lead to the train of abnormal action potential. If there is excess of pyrethroid toxicity, this depolarization tail, it will lead to an abnormal action potential. So that will lead to repetitive firing of the nerve action potential, right? So the nerve will be, there will be continuous excitation of the neurons. So because of this abnormal train of the action potential. So that is the thing that happens with the pyrethroid. See, pyrethroid causes occurrence of depolarization tail, which will again lead to the train of abnormal action potential that will lead to the continued excitation. So that will lead to continued persistent excitation. So there will be repetitive firing of the sensory end organs. So this is the result of the pyrethroid toxicity. So the basic mechanism of action is, it is to do with slowing down of the inactivation of the sodium channel. So it is the primary mechanism of action of the pyrethroid. And the second action of pyrethroid, it is similar to the organochlorine compound. So it inhibits the GABA receptor. So you know organochlorine compound also inhibits the GABA receptor. So you know by inhibiting the inhibitory neurotransmitter, what will happen? The net result will be the excitation. So because of which in the muscle there will be myotonia, in the salivary gland there will be increased salivation. And if you think the first and second mechanism of action, this mechanism of action is very closely related to the organochlorine compound. So in nutshell, what we used to tell under pesticide category is pyrethroid action is similar to the organochlorine action. Organophosphorus action is very similar to the carbamates. This link is very similar to the link between Telugu and Kannada, the link between Tamil and the Malayalam. See, Kannada people, they can watch easily Telugu films, so they can easily understand Telugu. Tamil people, they can easily understand the Malayalam, so they easily understand the Malayalam language. If we try to understand the Malayalam language, so it will be like it's a very difficult thing, right? So such will be the link between pyrethroid and organochlorine compound, organophosphorus and the carbamate. And the third mechanism of action, it inhibits the calcium ATPase, which affects the axonal conduction. And the fourth one, it increases the cyclic GMP level, particularly in the cerebellum. See what happens here, whenever it increases the cyclic GMP level, I told you many times. So whenever there is increase in the cyclic GMP level, what will be its action? So majority of cyclic GMP level is correlated with the inhibitory activity. So it will cause inhibition, right? So okay. So type 1 pyrethroid, so it will cause the small spike in the action potential. So the amplitude of action potential, what is the amplitude of action potential that we will see in the type 1? That amplitude will be small in type 1, whereas in type 2, the amplitude of action potential will be more. So that is the reason why type 2 pyrethroids are more toxic when you compare it with type 1 pyrethroids. Then clinical sign, it is again based on the classification of the pyrethroids. Indeed, this type 1 and type 2 pyrethroids, they are again classified based on the clinical signs that it will show in case of the laboratory animal rats. See, based on the clinical sign that the pyrethroids show in case of rat, based on that also pyrethroids are divided into type 1 and type 2. See, type 1 pyrethroid clinical sign, it is very commonly called as T syndrome or also called as tremor syndrome. And the clinical signs caused by type 2, it is also called as chorioathetosis salivation syndrome or CS syndrome. CS syndrome or chorioathetosis salivation syndrome. And this clinical sign, you should bear it in mind, these are the clinical signs that are shown in the rats, not in the domestic animals. So we will see what are the clinical signs in the T syndrome. So there will be restlessness, incoordination, hyperactivity, sensitivity to the external stimuli, fine tremors. So because of this fine tremors progressing to the whole body tremor, we call it as tremor syndrome, and there will be hyperthermia. And type 2 syndrome, there will be pawing, burrowing, behavior, salivation, coarse tremor progressing to sinus writhing. So there will be chorioathetosis and clonic seizures. So because of sinus writhing or chorioathetosis, the syndrome, chorioathetosis salivation syndrome. So that will be the assignment question for you. So what do you mean by this sinus writhing? So explain this sinus writhing, or you explain what do you mean by chorioathetosis in case of rats. Okay, that will be the assignment question for you. So then what are the clinical signs that are seen in the dogs and cat, which was less documented? So in dogs and cat, there will be hypersalivation, there will be seizures, vomition, diarrhea, mild tremors and hyperexcitability. And in cattle and sheep, there will be incoordination, staggering gait, salivation, nasal discharge, diarrhea, hypothermia or hypothermia, dyspnea, open mouth breathing, tremors and seizures. Non-specific clinical signs, so not a characteristic one. But if you see this clinical sign coupled with the history of ingesting pyrethroid, so you have to suspect for pyrethroid toxicity. Okay. Then post-mortem finding. So there will be non-specific post-mortem finding. So diagnosis, it is based on the history and the clinical sign, and very difficult to confirm the presence of pyrethroids in the tissues. So as the excretion rate will be faster for the pyrethroid, very difficult to confirm its presence. And treatment, there will be no specific antidote. You can give sedative. If the animal is not depressed, you can give the sedative. And also you can go for central acting muscle relaxant. So the preferred one is methocarbamol. This will be the dosage of methocarbamol. Then atropine. Why atropine? So there is a hypersalivation, so you have to give atropine. Then activated charcoal, then saline purgatives. Then you have to increase the ambient temperature of the surrounding environment. So surrounding the animals, so you have to increase the ambient temperature because more chances of degrading the pyrethroids. Temperature inversely proportional to the pyrethroid toxicity. Then the assignment questions. DASH is an example of type 2 pyrethroid. CS syndrome is caused by DASH type of pyrethroid. Pyrethroid mechanism of toxicity is similar to OP toxicity, true or false. And fourth one, write about sinus writhing or chorioathetosis salivation syndrome. Okay, so this is about pyrethroids.